Okay. So today we're going to be talking about a case on Kylie, who is an 8-year-old in grade 2. She's a very creative child and she enjoys drawing, painting, listening to music, swimming, and playing games on her iPad. She tends to get interested in things quickly, but also loses interest pretty quick. At school, she's having difficulty staying focused in class, completing assignments, and she is currently below her grade level in reading. She also struggles with executive functioning, including forgetting instructions, being disorganized, and having difficulty finishing tasks. In addition, she shows signs of anxiety, such as frequently worrying, stomach aches, headaches, and sometimes avoiding school. At home, she lives with her parents and two siblings in a household, which may make it harder to maintain consistent routines and structure.
Supporting Kaylee effectively starts with a clear understanding of her needs through careful assessment. This ensures interventions are appropriately targeted. The first step would be getting a formal assessment from a psychiatrist where her information is gathered from both her parents and her teachers, along with standardized tools. This helps build a full picture of her attention, behavior, and also her anxiety. That opens the door for more targeted support, including the option of medication. There are a variety of interventions that can be implemented immediately, giving Kylie's challenges with organization and task completion, providing structured support such as a clearly defined routines, visual schedules, and concise task lists can significantly enhance her ability to remain focused and complete assignments. These strategies are evidence-based and align with best practices for supporting students with executive functioning difficulties in academic environments. It is also important that structured supports are maintained in the home environment, given the busy nature of our household. Establishing consistent routines and clearly articulated expectations can help reduce ambiguity and foster predictability, therefore supporting her overall functioning. Another critical component is promoting sustained engagement. Since Kylie demonstrates an interest in activities such as art, music, and games, integrating these elements into her educational experience can enhance her attention span and motivation to participate in learning tasks. As well, given the presence of anxiety symptoms, cognitive behavioral therapy is recommended to equip her with effective coping mechanisms and strategies for managing her worries. In summary, a comprehensive approach that incorporates structured routines, engaging learning activities, and emotional support, alongside consideration of medical intervention, will best address Kaylee's needs.
So, we'd like to highlight three pieces of evidence that inform our understanding of ADHD in girls and how it connects to supporting Kylie. So, the first study assessed both boys and girls with and without ADHD aged 8 to 17. They used comprehensive set of standardized assessments tools including parents and teachers rating skills, self-reports of anxiety and depression, neuropsychological tests, and structured clinical interviews, all following the DSM criteria. They found that both boys and girls with ADHD displayed clear impairments in executive functioning, behavioral symptoms, and internalizing symptoms like anxiety and depression. However, girls with ADHD reported higher levels of physical anxiety than boys. The study also found that girls with ADHD often show more inattention and fewer disruptive behaviors, which matches what we see in Kylie. Additionally, the study's methodology was robust as it used multiple validated tools and including children not on medication, providing reliable results. The evidence suggests that for Kylie, assessment should go beyond observation. It should include rating skills from both parents and teachers, as well as child-friendly self-reports on mood and worries.
The second key study is by Hinshaw and colleagues, which follows 140 girls with ADHD and 88 girls without ADHD from childhood through adolescence and eventually into adulthood. This longitudinal design adds strength to the findings as it tracks the same individuals over time. The researchers used multi-informative assessments from teachers, parents, and peers and measured outcomes across academics, executive function, social relationships, and mood. They found that girls with ADHD consistently struggled with attention, planning, organization, and flexible thinking, and were at higher risk for later depression and anxiety. The study also highlights the importance for early intervention and the impact of school and community environments, including the role of parenting style. Another important point from the research is the societal stigma that affects girls with ADHD, with many influence diagnosis, treatment, and self esteem. The comprehensive approach in this study, using feedback from different sources and in different settings, reinforces the need for a well-rounded support plan for Kaylee that addresses both her academics and emotional needs.
So the third source is a review which summarizes findings from many peer-reviewed studies on ADHD in girls and boys of all ages. They emphasize that ADHD is often underdiagnosed in girls because their symptoms tend to be less disruptive and more internalized, such as inattention rather than hyperactivity. The review covers a range of interventions showing the combination of medication and behavioral strategies is most effective in children with ADHD, both academically and emotionally. The article also discusses the long term impact of ADHD on school performance, relationships, and emotional well being, and underscores that girls may need different approaches to identification and support.
All of these studies reflect Kaylee's symptoms and age range, with our first two sources particularly mentioning very similar traits that Kylie has. Additionally, all the studies that helped provide our intervention all acknowledge that girls are underdiagnosed when compared to boys. And the last two studies discuss behavioral therapy and how medication can be very important for success. With our last study explaining that a combination of medication and behavioral therapy is normally best fit for children with ADHD. This intervention will ensure that Kaylee is set up for success. And references.